Hello YouTubers, it is of course me, Trollface the Man, and welcome back to another Patreon, or really, everything is just going bad right off the bat, a Patreon early release video. So today we're going to be taking a look at these spooky bulbs. Now I know it's been a while since I did a video. If you want to skip this rambling, feel free to jump ahead. I will give you a thumbs up when I'm done, so that way you can just kind of scrub through the timeline and find it. But anyways, the last video I did, I know it's been a while since I've done a video. The last video I did was the fire breathing video with Nighthawk in Light. And, well, apparently, that was about a month and a half ago, apparently YouTube decided that, my video was rather naughty. So they demonetized it. And, well, YouTube tries denying this, but it's been proven by multiple channels, including Jorg from the Slingshot channel and Cody from Cody's Lab, along with some other ones, that as soon as your video is demonetized, you might get tens of thousands of views a day, and then it will drop down to maybe a couple of thousand if you're lucky. A couple of hundred isn't even an exaggeration, because apparently as soon as your video is demonetized, it's marked as being not okay for YouTube, and they stop pushing it out to subscribers. So my video has been doing abysmal because they rejected my appeal, even though this is a demonstrational video and there really is a high focus on safety. They're just like, no, you can't do that. And well, quite frankly, I don't believe for a second, and this is from past experience and others' experiences, that YouTube actually really screens videos from smaller channels. So, yeah, they've kind of jacked everything up with that, and even Nighthawk's video that he ended up doing, that should have probably had, I would think, at least a couple 100,000 views, has been struggling, and I think it might have a big part to do with the fact that it has fire breathing, and YouTube's like, that's dangerous. So, I've actually been at a point now that every single video I upload, pretty much, is automatically marked for not suitable for all advertisers. Which means that not only am I not making money off my videos when I publish them, it also means that my videos aren't properly being published or pushed out to subscribers. And I mean every single video. I wouldn't be surprised if this one gets flagged. I could make a video of me sniffing a flower and upload it, and not suitable for all advertisers. Yeah, they've been, most of them, so far they've cleared, but, So here's the thumbs up for the scrubbers of the timeline. I'm done with my little rant. We're gonna get on to the rest of the video. So what I have here is these LED bulbs. Much like a channel that I'm a big fan of, and I was kind of mimicking a little bit his style in this video. Big Clive. I am a huge fan of everything LED. I have 5mm LEDs, I have LED light chains, I have the filament style LEDs like this, I have RGB LEDs, I have the regular LEDs, my whole freaking house is a bunch of LEDs, and I just love them. I really do. Everything LED. Replace pretty much any filament or CFL bulb with LEDs, even in like flashlights and stuff, because they're great. This caught my attention, these very spooky Halloween LEDs. I've never seen anything like this before for the filament style. This I came across at Lowe's Home Improvement Store. Now, I typically go to Home Depot, or Home Depot, if you really want to trigger people. I go to Home Depot and check out their LEDs all the time, and I've never seen these here. And then the one time I took a visit to Lowe's, seen those there. And the one time I took a visit to Lowe's, I seen these right away, and I was like, these look interesting. Now, the first thing I want to point out is they have, I guess that wouldn't be good because I'm going to be flipping the image, so if I do that, it's going to be flipped upside down. The first thing is that these are clear glass. So the fact that they have the glass orange and the glass purple on the outside of these things makes absolutely no sense, because they will not look like that when they light up. You can even see right on here, clear glass LEDs. These will literally be clear, and all the color is produced by the filament. Now this just says orange and purple light, or orange and purple light. That's it. They don't specify the luminosity, which is kind of a BS measurement for a lot of different circumstances. But only other thing I could find is that they're 2 watts. Purple and orange. Now I looked at this and I was like, you know, that doesn't quite look purple to me. What that looks like is, that looks more like a black light, an ultraviolet light. And I decided I just have to get it and test it. So, board instructions, not for exposed to water, minimum starting temperature, 120 volt, 60 hertz circuit, blah, 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 blah. Let's take a look at these. So you can see that there's an orange bottom to this one, indicating that it is the orange light. And then we have the purple bottom one, indicating that it's the purple light. Which technically, yes, it is purple, but it's more of a violet, an ultraviolet, if you know what I'm saying. So the thing that's kind of interesting about these bulbs, and I can see that you're going to have a little bit of a problem seeing them because of all the lights that I have in here. The thing you'll see with these bulbs, let me see if I can kind of block some of the light. This is one of the downfalls of having a really good studio setup, is that there's just lights everywhere. Okay. Well, anyways, you should be able to see that the filament here is colored like an orange. This one, the filament, air quotations, is clear. For this light, it seems like that they might just have regular LEDs in here, that they just use this coating on here to color the orangish color, which, as you'll see later, isn't really that orange. And then this one just seems to have the pure violet LEDs in there, which I can show you right now. Now, like I said, once again, this BS is marketing. They don't look like that when you turn them on. That would be like if they had colored glass. I'm pretty sure that they just had somebody select these areas, colorize them, and then rotate hue until it was the orange and purple. Very simple thing to do. This is what they actually look like. Doesn't appear anything like... It's not even the same color, to be honest. This is very red. This is orange. This is a very reddish color. And yeah, they definitely do not look like that. Let me show you the violet one. Now I'll get better shots when it gets dark. It is actually bright daylight right now. So yeah, not looking too similar at all. So what these are is that you can kind of see, hopefully, I'm gonna zoom in more. You should be able to see the little dots. Okay, you can see it in the reflection. If you look in the reflection right about here, you can see the little dots that the LEDs are comprised of. Otherwise, it's just kind of getting swamped out by my camera. And, or excuse me, the little dots are what the LEDs are. And what this is it's just a string of, let me say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 24. It looks like 24 LEDs. So what they're likely doing here is they're running these all in series. So and what they're doing is they're actually running, more than likely, the full 120 volts through these string of LEDs. This is actually nice because they don't need to have any type of dropping circuitry, like a capacitive dropper or a transformer, to lower the voltage to a more acceptable range for the LEDs. The downfall of this, though, is that if one of the LEDs goes out, then the other LEDs are going to be screwed. So far, though, they've come out with more and more of these style of bulbs, and they've been pretty reliable for me. The thing that's really great about this design is that you don't lose as much heat or much energy in the form of heat, because a lot of the heat that's generated inside of these bulbs is actually, or the LED bulbs, is actually the dropping circuits, the older ones that have like the sort of white ceramic base and then the little tiny dome at the top. A lot of the energy to that is lost in the form of heat. So by making the new white LEDs using this method where they can use the full voltage or about the full voltage versus having to step it down to maybe 12 volts to run, like 3 series chips or whatever, it saves a lot of energy. The regular LEDs versus these style of LEDs, these can use about 20 to 30% less power to get the same amount of light out of them, which is very, very cool. Another way they can do these lights, like this one seems to have inside of here diodes to rectify the current. So presumably they're turning it from 120 volts to 120 volts AC to 120 DC. Now I could be wrong about that. They could step down the voltage somewhat to, like, let's say half by any number of means. I'm not 100% sure. I would probably have to smash one of these balls. Maybe I'll do it in the future. This is all theoretics, but I'm almost sure that they just use the straight 120 volts DC, converted to DC, to power these. The thing is, though, is they theoretically could actually get around having to rectify the current at all by instead having one of these, and you want to double it up, though, for brightness sake, having one of these filaments pass current one way, and then the other one pass it the other way, meaning that on one half of the sine wave, the one filament would light up, and then the other half of the sine wave, the other filament would light up, which means that they would be pulsing at 30 hertz, so 30 times a second they would be firing. You could technically use a smoothing capacitor to smooth out that 30 hertz, because the LEDs in that case would be acting as a half-wave rectifier. Or alternatively, once again, we have the whole sort of phosphorescent coating. I'm not quite sure what specifically it is, but this coating that glows a little bit afterwards. So if you were to just have, one of these flickering 30 times a second, the other one flickering 30 times a second, you're getting effectively 60 hertz, because this would be flickering. It'd go 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2, and the glow from the afterglow from the filament would actually smooth that out and effectively make it look like 60 hertz. But in this specific circumstance, unless they added twice as many filaments in, and if they only did that half-wave rectifying method like I'm saying, it would lower the brightness by about half. So these bulbs are very interesting, though. So like I said, I am going to show you a little bit more when it gets dark, because it's very hard to demonstrate the bulbs when everything is this bright. One thing I can show you, though, right now, is this is uranium glass, and I actually did a whole video on it. It's a very fascinating thing. This glass is actually slightly radioactive. It's made with uranium dioxide. I'm actually a collector of it. I go around and I find the stuff at garage sales, Salvation Armies, etc. And it's a cool thing. And like I said, it is slightly radioactive, but this type of radiation it puts off isn't able to permeate your skin, your dead skin cells and stuff like that very well. That was my phone. Isn't able to permeate your dead skin cells very well. So even there are studies done that shows that even day-long exposure every day, if you were like a shipper of these, would still put you well below your safe radiation levels for the year. Many people might say there are no such thing as safe radiation levels, which might be true, but anyways, I collect it. I think it's cool. If I hold this light next to this, you can see, this is the cool thing about uranium glass, is that it actually, when exposed to UV spectrum, it glows. let me turn off these other lights around here. Things will get much darker, but they won't get dark enough because there's a window right here lighting up everything still. So what happens with this uranium glass, the effect will be much more spectacular at night. What happens with this uranium glass is it absorbs the invisible UV light and it converts it to visible green light. We have a bunch of invisible UV light we can't see here, and by simply holding it next to this uranium glass, it's converted to light that we can see. And like I said, at night, this effect will be much, much greater. So we'll wait till then, and I'll show you some more and how these lights look. Also, these were 2 for like $4. So they weren't outrageously expensive. It's not like 20 bucks for this box or anything like that. So that was good too. Hello and welcome back. So this is now nighttime. Will this stop shaking around? This is now nighttime, where I can actually show off the, well, both these bulbs, primarily this UV bulb, to its full extent. What I have here is, of course, a uranium glass. I have the glass I showed you earlier. And I have a uranium glass top hat, which is pretty cool. This is one of my favorite pieces. It looks rather interesting, and it's sort of the older style uranium glass where it has that greenish hue, the yellow-green hue, instead of just being like the very distinctively green that a lot of the newer uranium glass is. I also have these Czechoslovakian uranium glass beads. They're the same hue as the top hat here, maybe a little bit lighter. Some more, how would I describe this? More of a frosted finish uranium glass beads. And then this is actually an interesting piece that I found in the Salvation Army too. It's a bracelet that has uranium glass. These didn't really look like uranium glass when I first seen them until I seen them light up. Uranium glass striped beads in them. So if I turn on the lamp here, you can see that the glass lights up. Once again, this is the glass absorbing the UV light emitted and then re-emitting it in a visible spectrum. The top hat really glows, and like I said, this is one of my favorite pieces in my collection. Looks absolutely stunning. The Czechoslovakian uranium glass beads, no surprise, they glow pretty well too. Probably getting a little bit washed out in the camera. The frosted beads, they glow, not as well. I mean, they still do, but it's just not as an intensive effect. And then of course this bracelet here, which I think is a really cool one. You can see that the striped beads glow when passed nearby. So if I were to kick off this light here, you'll be able to see more of just the glowing effect, what it would look like in the dark. Actually very, very cool. Like, that is pretty dang neat right there. Well, one of the other things is, I got the light off, check this out. This is the other light, and the phosphor, whatever they have on the filament for it, apparently is very luminescent under UV. So you can see that it glows a very vivid orange color. If I take this UV laser here, you can see when I pass it over, as soon as I strike it, almost looks like I'm lighting it on fire. It's so intensely bright, and this laser, of course, works with the uranium glass too, which is pretty neat. But yeah, it's pretty intense. So let me see what the orange one now looks like, so you guys can take a look at the color for that one, and then I'll set them up in a position in a room, and you can see what it looks like in the room. So swap this out real quick with the orange one. These are only 2 watts. They're not very bright. It's very hard judging luminosity based off the UV one, because a lot of the lumens effectively are going to be emitted as, well, a lot of the light is going to be emitted as UV, which you can't see, which doesn't count toward lumens. But with the light, what I can see visible, the UV one looks to be about 100 lumens, and this one maybe about 250. Probably more about 300, I'm gonna say. So you can see that with this one, it is a reddish orange. It's not like the pumpkin orange that may be shown on the package, but it definitely is a reddish orange. The spectrum that's emitted by it seems pretty pure when it comes to the color. Like it literally just seems like it's emitting primarily an orange color, not much else. So when you're looking at other colored things, one second, let me grab something. So when you're looking at things that are not in its spectrum color, such as this green glass or this yellow-green top hat, they lose all the color to it. I actually did look at it under a spectroscope I got here. Oops. And it has, red, yellow, green, and it's missing almost all of its lighter blue colors, and then a little bit in the dark violet spectrum. I'll take a picture, and that way you guys can actually see what the heck I'm talking about. So yeah, you can see that it definitely is orange. It's interesting. Not as cool as the UV one, which obviously I really like because of the UV effect. The fact that you can use this to, yeah, look at that. I just love that. Get all that stuff to glow. Not anywhere near as powerful as even my UV flashlight that I've made though, which is this right here, which is more directional. So it's not necessarily too surprising, but still pretty neat for what it is. And only being a couple of bucks each when you take into consideration. There's a lot of junk around here, so never mind that. The UV doesn't actually work that well with this lamp and this lamp cover, specifically because the white plastic that lines the inside of the lamp cover is actually absorbing and re-emitting the UV light in a blue spectrum. So just keep that in mind. Actually, you know, if you wanted a blue light too, you could just use like a lamp cover like this. But let's, I'm gonna take off the lamp cover for this one at least because, once again, it is absorbing the UV light and converting it into a different spectrum. I still am getting the UV effect, but you can see that underneath, very strong, because you're getting the pure UV light emitted, and then off to the sides, very weak because almost all the UV is being absorbed and converting into this bluish light that you're seeing right now. Other than that, yeah, it's okay brightness-wise. So without the lamp cover on, you can see that anything white nearby, such as my umbrella reflector for my lights, my diffusers, those blinds over there, the UV glass that's nearby, all glows. The intensity is much better at the sides because of the sides and tops, because obviously that's the way that these lights work. But you can see it lights up a decent area. Things such as that are UV reactive, such as this filament here, even off to the side, are glowing decently. Once again though, showing that this is actually absorbing and converting the UV light. If I put this on, you can see immediately, as soon as this comes close, it starts, yeah, emitting the blue color. Alright, so this is now the orange, what is perceivably supposed to be like a pumpkin orange from the package. And actually, if we look around, this has a fair bit of luminosity to it. Like I said, it's probably about 3 times as bright as the UV one, at least visible spectrum. So it's actually not too bad if you wanted to have something, whoops, if you wanted to have something set up as just like a corner lamp or something with an orange color to it. Speaking of which, I'm gonna put on the lampshade real quick. There we go, little Halloween accent lamp somewhere on an end table. Not too bad. They could fare to be brighter, but I'm assuming that they are expecting this to be used as a accent and not as a primary light source for, like, let's say, for example, a party. In which case, for 2 watts and for what you're getting, I think that they are definitely interesting and something that has its own specific utilizations. I especially like the filament style for this UV one, even though if I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a purple, but it definitely emits a lot in the ultraviolet spectrum. I I just think it works good for what you're getting for a few bucks. I think it's interesting, and it has its own purposes that can be definitely utilized maybe sometime in the future for videos, or just slapping it with a reflector and having it be a cheap alternative and a much cooler alternative and hopefully longer lasting alternative to having a ultraviolet tube light, which fluorescent light, which can burn out very easily. So yeah, anyways, thank you guys. This is very orange, isn't it? Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to hit that like button, to leave me a comment, and to subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you to my awesome Patreons whose support has actually helped buy the products used in this video, and I very much appreciate it. Anyone that donates over $100 gets a permanent spot in the $100 Hall of Fame, and anyone donating more than $5 a month gets a spot at the end credits of any videos that are done during the time that they are supporting. I mean, that's pretty much it. Sorry for not making as many videos as I should be lately, but yeah, I mean, YouTube has kind of given me a shaft in a lot of situations, so a little bit demotivating. Anyways, thank you guys, and